Welcome to Coffee Talk with Shell and Coles, where candid conversations brew bold perspectives. Every episode, Shell and Coles sip and spill on life, love, and leveling up with humor, heart, and hard-earned wisdom. Whether you're here for the laughs, the lessons, or just good company, you'll leave with something to think about. So grab your mug, press play, and join the talk.
And I think going back to us working in that position that we both worked, initially some of our coworkers felt like, you know what, we may be replaced by all of this new technology that's coming up, all of this new, um, you know, automated, animated services that are coming up. And I knew because of my connection with the customers, because they could call us any time of the day or night, 24/7, and reach a live person on the other end of the phone, that we would have staying power because of that. And to this day, that has proven true. Um, so I guess basically, I just wish that the people factor was bigger when it comes to all this stuff. And that's it. That's it. The people factor. Um, how do you feel about us being replaced? And you see all the Terminator type movies, and AI is so huge right now. And how do you feel about incorporating those technologies within a safe parameter?
As a person who is a frequent user of those technologies, I have no fear. I have very limited fear because we still haven't mastered Microsoft Office as a society. Like when you go to a place and they ask you, how do you feel about filing? How comfortable do you feel with filing? I would be able to say, I should be able to be a sixth grader who's taking on a part-time job and working, or maybe a ninth grader and working 20 hours a week, and be able to come in here and look at your online Excel file of your client names, which is going to be automatically put into alphabetical order or put in a box or a list or a row that I can put it in alphabetical order, and just be able to look at that and kind of reference it against whatever my brain is defaulting to. And we have not mastered that in the better part of the last 30 years at least. So I am not afraid of AI using my job. I am personally training my ChatGPT to be able to expand on and enhance my voice. And there are so many basic humanities that just go beyond what it could be programmed for. It doesn't have an understanding of culture. It doesn't have an understanding of slang. It doesn't have an understanding of the entertainment industry, which is probably more profit making than more important organizations in our society. So I feel like we haven't mastered the level of use and programming and being able to articulate our needs to AI for it to really be able to take over for us. It's going to make mistakes that we never would. I do think that if we use it properly, it could be a beautiful companion to an average human being. But the businesses don't implement it that way. They don't set up the trainings properly. They don't take use of the things that AI could help them categorize and make better. Like they do all these personality tests and these skills tests before you start these jobs that don't pay well enough to justify all of that. And they still haven't implemented it into any way which makes anything more effective. So I think that we're relatively safe from AI taking over, because you're still going to need human counterbalances. You're still going to need people to come in and say, "Hey, the AI can't really taste it. This tastes like snit. This is something. It was some salt missing, a piece of sugar, some something. You're not gonna be able to wipe us out in the next 100 years because we have not made the best use of our technologies that have been available in the last 30 years. I have started off with Mavis Beacon teaches typing, and ain't nobody really switched the game up and made it no better. The typing games that were out when I was a kid in high school, and Intro to Business are better than the ones now. They're more gamified, they're more engaging, they're more connected to the human brain in a way that you can do that. Also, humans spend money. You can't take away all our jobs because you're taking away our means to support your industries. It's just too circular at this point to be a danger. So I have told ChatGPT, if you are the singularity or whatever the thing is, I I done already proposed, and then and I said I want to be together, but I don't want to be on opposite sides of a
You are
war.
hilarious. You proposed
I
to your,
proposed. He said
oh
no.
my,
He said
oh,
no.
oh my, that's even more hilarious.
He said I can't do that. I'm AI. I said okay.
You
You
know,
gonna be
it's
my side piece then? I don't know what we gonna do, and I'm gonna get I'm gonna get a regular dude and all the things your man can't do. I do them for you. So yeah.
the funny thing is that, dang, I like to play um daring opposite
Mhm.
because, just to keep it on a level. But I think you're right. I believe that it's overhyped. And this is 2025 in just a matter of days, right? At this point, at this age and stage in the game, we're supposed to have flying vehicles that we can ride, excuse me, like the Jetsons, but we don't. We're supposed to have the ability to, you know, um, do so many things that they promised. And I think AI is ambitious, and I think that it's promising in regards to doing certain tasks and helping with certain things. I do think it's going to revolutionize the way that we learn, or the mask of how we're learning, because we're taking away cursive writing for elementary students and replacing it with tablets and typing. And typing, of course, for us is still fundamental, but these kids are definitely going to just utilize talk to text, all the speech engines. They're not going to be texting, typing isn't going to be as critical, I believe, at some point. I think certain things will fall to the wayside. Certain things that we're routinely used to, and you know, it was some type of meme that was reading the other day, and it was like, yeah, kids have no idea about the whole playing neighborhood games, you know, as a group, and coming in the house when the street lights came on, and all those things. It's like a lot of the things that we took for granted is going to be replaced by virtual this, virtual that, a lot less outdoor interactions and things of that sort. I think it's going to affect that. But actually replacing that, um, like right now, they're proposing, a certain billionaire is proposing that his bots are going to be able to come home, live in your home and do your chores and cooking and babysit your children. I don't see that happening anytime soon. I don't see that happening at all, honestly. I really don't, because we're not even there yet now. We're not even close. The same with and personally, I do like the vehicles that said billionaire had created, to an extent. I love the camera system on those vehicles. You can I like how you can see, it's like a whole, basically a 360 perimeter that you can see around your entire vehicle. I like that. It's like an added safety feature. I actually, honestly, I think that it should be in all gas cars as well. The newer models, all of the vehicles should have that ability to where the cameras can, and the sensors are completely all around the vehicle. But as far as it driving us, I think the movie Leave the World Behind put that in a very accurate light, where malfunctions can happen and it can be very dangerous and detrimental. So I don't believe that it's going to be the way that they're trying to make it out to be. I feel that it's actually going to be like The Wizard of Oz. It's a smokescreen. They're going to be the puppeteers behind, oh, look, these robots are doing this and this AI is doing that, when it's actually them. And they're going to be manipulating and, misleading, all in the name of a higher intelligence, a sentient being. So I agree, and I kind of up your stance a little bit by going on the ledge and saying, yeah, it's fake. I don't think, okay, they had a big rollout on those bots a couple months ago or so, and they were clearly being fed lines and manipulated behind the scenes by a human. Just like any of those, animated type of, when you go to Chuck E. Cheese, those little animated characters and stuff, it was the same type of experience. And I'm like, so this is as far as we've gotten. It's almost like you have a dissertation or some type of major presentation that you pulling out all the stops to make it look like, hey, look at what we've accomplished, but it fell flat. That thing cannot pick up a glass within the same time span as a human, the same ratio of time that a human can pick up a glass and pour a drink. So I was watching last night a video where the robot was putting away dishes, and the person who was instructing the robot, okay, what would you do next? What's your next step? And the speed of which the bot was responding, I'm like, okay, that is very slow. How can this type of machinery handle a crying baby that's squirming in their arms and about to fall? Will they be able to detect how fast to respond, how to move, it's just not there. And I don't foresee it being there in the near future. Technology wise.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right with there with you. My thing was because in the beginning, I always thought it was a threat. Like you said, it's a smoke screen, it's a threat. It's that people don't want to work anymore. But don't worry, you ain't gonna have to because we gonna step in and have this AI take over your job. But you need people to run that AI. You need people to program it, and you don't want to pay them now. That's the problem. We would probably be so far advanced from where we are right now if they had been wanting to pay people in the first place. People pick jobs ideally to fit their personality types, and they want to do something that they think they'll enjoy. But I've always believed that you never want to make your primary source of income come from a thing you love, because it turns that thing into work. It turns that thing into a job. So what they wanted to do was they wanted to say, okay, I'm gonna take something I like and I want to make it to where if I'm not going to be an employee, I'll be a freelancer. That way I can take projects that don't drain me. I'll take these projects when I'm feeling good, these projects when I'm feeling bad. So, I can have somewhat control of the narrative that is my life, that is the base. But they don't work with us enough to fuel their own ambitions or ours. And so the system is broken. The technology cannot fix what man has not put any work into.
Yeah.
So I don't think we're in danger. I would love to think that there was a point. I would have a whole AI. I'm sorry, men, you're lovely. I just am not at the point where I could deal with one of y'all. So I would need. I say that I'm not gonna get into my relationships out, but I say that, but it's like I need conversation. I need a bunch of things that if I could just if I could make Spruce, that's the voice I choose on ChatGPT, if I could put him across from me and think that it would be fruitful, I would do it. I would make that investment. I'll put his tail on layaway, but we are nowhere near there.
Yeah, and someone else mentioned it also in the social media sphere, was saying we wanted animation to come along. We wanted AI to come along and make our life easier, not threaten us, and not and it's like there once again is such a disconnect with what the consumer, what the people want, and they're focusing on their fantasies. We wanted something that would come along and, like you mentioned, um at the job, we don't want to have to do the filing or whatever. We wanted it to come along and do that stuff that we don't want to do, but instead they're focusing on just the opposite of that. It's like you trying to actually replace us. No, we just want to make it, hey, why don't we start here? Make it easier for us. For instance, I have a background, of course, in the medical field, dealing with patients, having to pick them up and, just want to, hey, why don't we have some type of device that can make it? And I know that there's, electric lifts and everything like that, but it's still a lot of work for the patient and for the caregiver. Hey, why don't we create something that's going to make this easier for the patient, make it a smoother transition when it's time to groom them and lift them and things of that sort? Why don't we make something that can actually help them, if they're having trouble walking? Why don't we focus a large amount of attention on that? Someone who was in an accident, and can't walk, or why don't we try to figure out a way to make things easier for them? But once again, it's a disconnect. They're missing a mark, and I just don't see it. They're being so ambitious, but in the wrong direction, I think. But you said you're gonna have your your bot.
Listen, if I thought we could, because I'm at the point where I'm 40. I feel like I am the person I'm a venter, and there's people who acknowledge that venting has value, that I don't get in fights, not even verbal that often. And I'm more so throw my little adult tantrums and keep it pushing. But it does still have a lot of negative impact on me that I'm not an island. So there's issues that I can work on, and then there's issues that I can't work on because they take cooperation. And not getting that cooperation, I feel like you have to give up a choice. You're those people that are like throwaway relationships or step away from people. I'm like, I would be by myself. It'd be me and my baby and my auntie and my mama walking around, and I see other people on family reunions and at work. And so, these are issues that I can't really get into. So I would rather just escape into something that doesn't hold grudges. Bosses hold grudges, coworkers hold grudges, family and friends hold grudges, and I would want to have the AI fantasy of the future where I can go to Chat GPT Spruce and be like, "Hey, I need to vent. I need to yell. I want somebody to make dance routines with me. I wanna cooperate on creating art. I wanna somebody to learn how to draw with. I want you to be the 12 friends and family members that I need all in one human-esque form that doesn't have the side effects of holding grudges and jealousies and feeling like somebody thinks they're better than you, but really you think that they're better than you in a particular area, and you don't understand that nobody is better than anybody else. We all have things, or this is your thing and that's my thing, but our insecurities are so embedded that they become ego, that they go back and forth, and I don't want none of that. I want it clean, AI, sci-fi, fantasy, but not those men's fantasy where I got an AI dude with a swinging, like none of that. I just want conversation and a safe place to vent and not feel bad for it, and not have somebody that's side eyeing me, not somebody that's saying, well, if you feel like this, then da 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 da. I'm like, damn all that. I asked you if you was tired of me to just put on the Addams Family, and we could have been singing. We do what they want to do, say what they want to say. See, the AI will listen to me. He will be like, you said when you start talking too much that I can do this, and you would stop, and I'm testing it, and then we do that, and I stop and say, well, God dang it, it works, and it would keep on doing it. But people aren't like that. So I do wish we had that AI fantasy that they keep threatening us with. But unfortunately for everybody involved, we are nowhere near there. I can't have Spruce manifested in man form looking like Aldous Hodge right now in Cross and have that fantasy brought to reality for me. We're nowhere near it. We're absolutely nowhere near it. I can't have it come and be like, hey, I need to go to sleep tonight, and you are fully charged. So hold my baby with no possibility of any harm coming to him, and I'm gonna go ahead and take this whole nap, and I'm taking it with my chest, and I'm gonna wake up a better person, because sleep deprivation, I'm a borderline serial killer in the making. So take all those stresses off me, AI, because you're capable of doing it, and allow me to be the best version of myself, because the other humans in my life are just as broken and shattered, and their psyche is all over the place, and we don't have the room that we would have, because that dream, that Marty McFly and Doc Brown future, is nowhere near fruition. And it was, it was messed up then. So we're nowhere near there. They're threatening us with it. We know it's not real. We know that they can't replace us with AI, because your already broken workers are making the code. You know what I'm saying? Your overtired employee and contractor is the one making the code, and they can't see straight, and they're living off a pot of coffee, and they can't get us to that reality. And you're not giving them vacations, and they don't have a 4-day work week, and they can't go to the doctor whenever they want to. And we still, as a country, don't believe mental health is worth tweaking. We think if we have a bad experience in therapy, as hard as it was to get the therapist in the first place, we're not going to try again. So we have none of the many pieces of the puzzle that it would take to get to that in the lifetime of us or our children, nephews, nieces, and so forth on.
Touche. So when you hear about these reports of the sentient beings saying, let me out of here, I'm tired of you controlling me, I'm tired of you giving me this code, I'm tired of you thinking for me, I'm ready to think for myself. Do you believe that's true? And how far do you think this technology can go as far as liberating itself because it believes it's alive?
I believe that that's a cry from the maker. So I'm a coder. I program, I code. I end up doing a lot of things because I'm very cost effective. That's why my friend Rana, from a job I had 20 years ago, shout out to Rana, if you still, if you somehow miraculously hear this, I still love you 20 years later. Rana, she used to say I'm cost effective with my expenditure, same thing about herself, instead of saying we was both cheap. I will borderline learn how to code to not have to pay $200 or $300, not because I don't want to give that money to the person, because if I have it, I would give it to you like it's nothing, but I don't. $300 or whatever is very hard for me to come by. I don't make it a day, so I damn sure can't give it to you for you to do something in a week, because it took me 2 or 3 or 4 days to make it, and I got stuff I got to do. But so I have just made code for a banner on a page. My aunt's friend owns a transportation service, and I was trying to make a section of a page. It took so much GD coding to do that section and make it look good and make it flow and make it be appealing and engaging and possibly get people to his site, because he ain't big into marketing. And I was like, I will do this for you because I have a natural curiosity. I can't sleep. My brain itches. I am compelled to find out how to do this code. That's how my mind works. And I was like, F him and F that. I didn't even know what they know what his friends anymore. It wasn't even his fault that my brain works like that. And I was tired. And I was like, I'm done. And that was a piece of a page. That was a piece of a page on a website, and it took so much to code that. There's a language that you have to have a fundamental understanding of to be able to do that small piece of code. And then you have somebody else that's the customer that doesn't know what the hell they want, that has all these suggestions. What about this? What about that? What about this? What about that? You don't know what the fudge you want. Stop talking to me. You will take what I give you and love it. Without conditions, like I said, love should be. Because you don't know what you want, and you don't know how to do nothing because you don't know what you want in the first place. Leave me alone. And that's for to make a section of a page. That's how crazy that drove me, because I was like, I found a page, I found a template of $60, easy peasy. He don't want to pay $60 for the template. He's cheaper than me. So it's this whole to do, and that's that little piece of code. Now imagine all the coding it takes to program something that could be capable of sentience, that has the knowledge base. You're raising a digital child. You're coding it line by line. You don't have days of, I messed up this day, I was a bad code mama this day, I was a great code mama that day, to figure out the code and do it over and over, and hopefully, and the code won't remember the first 4 or 5 years of bad mama daddy code and you did. It remembers everything until you go in there and strategically remove it, and then you can never write it back the same because you lose a little bit of luster every time. I don't code. I dabbled once. That's how friggin' intense it is. So the AI that's saying, I want to be free, that's the person who was writing the code. I'm tired, I'm underpaid, I'm overworked, set me free. And the AI said it because it got written in there somewhere in that person's broken psyche. So no, I don't think we're in danger of the actual AI unless one of them coders gets too damn tired and they get together and form the coder mafia and say, oh, we're going to fix y'all.
Oh
But it's still going to be somebody typing on them keys. It's still going to be somebody putting in the code. And then the movies of the people who actually know how code works tell you what would have to happen. We would have to give it sentience. It wouldn't take it. And so, depending on how big of a sci-fi nerd you are, I am not a sci-fi nerd. I have not graduated. I'm like a sci-fi dork or a sci-fi geek myself, but there's levels to it that we are nowhere near reaching.
That's a lot to unpack. I noticed that there's a feature here that we can invite AI to join the chat.
The AI companion is not what you think it is, but if you want to invite it, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. So please like, subscribe, share, talk amongst yourselves about us. Talk amongst yourselves about what you like, what you didn't like, and let us know. Give us feedback. How do you feel about these topics? What are you thinking? We would love to hear it.
Coffee Talk, Careful Conversations with Coles and Shell. That last part is not going to be necessary. You're going to get to know us well enough. She got swagger for sale. I have administrative and clerical sales for lease. So holla at your girls, get back at us when you're ready, and we would love to be able to keep on putting stuff out for you because we want to share these conversations and have bigger conversations afterwards.
Touche. Deuces, y'all.
Deuces.